What if I told you there's an animal roaming North America that can smell you from miles away, outrun a racehorse in short bursts, and casually crush a bowling ball with one swipe of its paw? And the craziest part, it doesn't even see you as a threat. Because once you understand grizzly bears, you realize something unsettling. They're not just big animals. They're walking forces of nature with habits so strange, scientists are still trying to fully explain them. And by the end of this video, you'll never look at a forest the same way again. Grizzly bears are often pictured as slow, lumbering giants, roaming the wilderness in search of salmon or berries, but that image barely scratches the surface. Behind that calm exterior is one of the most complex, intelligent, and unpredictable predators in North America. Today, we're going to break down 10 fun and strange facts about grizzly bears, facts that range from surprisingly adorable to genuinely terrifying. And the deeper we go, the more you'll realize something strange. Grizzly bears aren't just surviving in the wild. They're dominating it in ways most people never think about. Let's start from the beginning. Grizzly bears are more than just symbols of the wilderness. They're what scientists call a keystone species. That means their presence literally shapes entire ecosystems. Without them, forests, rivers, and even fish populations would change dramatically. They dig, they hunt, they scavenge, and they move massive amounts of nutrients across land. In a way, grizzlies are like nature's engineers. But here's the twist. Despite their importance, most people still don't understand how they actually live. And that's where things get interesting. Because grizzly bears are full of contradictions. They're powerful but cautious, massive but surprisingly fast, solitary yet deeply intelligent. And the first fact shows just how strange they really are. Fact number 1. Grizzlies can smell you from miles away. A grizzly bear's sense of smell is so powerful it makes a bloodhound look weak. Scientists estimate they can detect scents from up to 20 miles away, depending on wind conditions. That means if you're hiking in bear country, there's a real possibility a grizzly already knows you're there long before you see anything. But here's what makes it even stranger. They can also smell underground food sources, buried carcasses, and even fish moving in rivers. It's like having a biological radar system built into their face. And that raises a disturbing question. If they always know where everything is, how often are they choosing not to act? Fact number 2. They can run faster than you think. At first glance, a 600-pound bear looks slow, but grizzlies can sprint up to 35 miles per hour in short bursts. That's faster than Olympic sprinters. And the most terrifying part? They can do it uphill, downhill, and through rough terrain that would destroy a human's balance. So if you ever thought you could outrun one, nature has a simple answer. You can't. But speed isn't even their most dangerous trait. Not even close. Fact number 3. They have memory maps of entire landscapes. Grizzly bears don't just wander, they remember. Studies show they can recall exact locations of food sources from years earlier. Some bears return to the same berry patches, fishing spots, and even carcass sites season after season. It's almost like they have a mental GPS of entire mountain ranges. But here's where it gets eerie. Researchers believe older bears may pass this knowledge down indirectly through behavior patterns. Not teaching, but imitation and timing. Meaning entire generations may be following invisible maps written by instinct and memory. And that leads to something even more surprising. Fact number 4. They're extremely playful, even as adults. Despite their size and power, grizzlies don't always act like predators. They roll in grass, slide down hills, wrestle with each other, and even play with sticks or logs. Young grizzlies especially are incredibly curious and playful. But don't let that fool you. That same bear that looks like it's having fun can switch into defense mode instantly, and that switch is one of the fastest in the animal kingdom. One moment it's playing, the next, it's a force you do not want to be near. Fact number 5. Their claws are longer than human fingers. A grizzly bear's claws can grow up to 4 inches long. That's longer than most human fingers. But here's the key detail people miss. They don't use them like cats or wolves. Grizzlies use their claws more like digging tools than weapons. They can tear through soil, logs, and frozen ground in seconds. It's basically a built-in construction machine. And when those claws do get used defensively, the results are devastating. But still, claws aren't what make grizzlies truly dangerous. Their intelligence is. Fact number 6. They're smarter than most people expect. Grizzly bears have shown problem-solving abilities, memory retention, and even basic tool-use behaviors in the wild. They learn quickly from experience, especially when it comes to food sources and human interaction. Once a grizzly learns where food is easy to get, it remembers, and that's where things can become dangerous for both humans and bears. Because a bear that associates humans with food stops behaving like a wild animal and starts behaving like something far more unpredictable. Fact number 7. They can eat over 90 pounds of food in a day. Before winter, grizzly bears enter a phase called hyperphagia. Basically, they eat non-stop. During this time, they can consume up to 90 to 100 pounds of food daily. That's like a human eating several entire refrigerators of food every day. But they're not just eating randomly, they're building fat reserves for hibernation. And the urgency behind it changes everything about their behavior, because during hyperphagia, food becomes the only priority. Everything else fades into the background. Fact number 8. They don't actually hibernate like you think. Most people imagine bears sleeping through winter, but that's not entirely true. Grizzlies enter a state called torpor. Their body temperature drops, their heart rate slows dramatically, and they don't eat or drink. But they can still wake up if disturbed. Even more surprising, female grizzlies can give birth during this time and nurse cubs without eating for months. That level of biological adaptation is still being studied today. And it raises one question: how did something like this even evolve? Fact number 9. Mother grizzlies are extremely protective. A mother grizzly is one of the most dangerous animals in North America, not because she's aggressive by nature, but because she will do absolutely anything to protect her cubs. Even experienced wildlife experts keep extreme distance when cubs are present, because the presence of cubs completely changes behavior. A calm bear becomes defensive, a defensive bear becomes unpredictable, and a warning encounter can escalate in seconds, which leads to one of the most important survival truths in bear country. You're not dealing with a single animal. You're dealing with instinct multiplied by protection. Fact number 10. Grizzlies rarely attack humans without reason. Despite their fearsome reputation, grizzly attacks are actually rare. Most encounters happen due to surprise, food protection, or cub defense. In most cases, grizzlies prefer to avoid humans entirely. But here's the twist that surprises most people. The danger isn't that they hunt humans, it's that they don't always understand them. To a grizzly, a sudden movement in dense forest might just be a threat response trigger. Not malice, not hunger, just instinct. And that's what makes them so unpredictable. So after all these facts, after the speed, the strength, the intelligence, the memory, and the sheer biological complexity, what are grizzly bears really? They're not monsters. They're not villains. And they're not mindless beasts either. They're something far more interesting. They are perfectly adapted survivors of one of the harshest environments on Earth. Every trait they have, every claw, every instinct, every burst of speed, is part of a system built for survival over thousands of years. And the more we learn about them, the more we realize how little we actually control when we step into their world. Because in the wilderness, we are not the dominant species. We are visitors. Conclusion resolution. Grizzly bears are often feared, misunderstood, or turned into symbols of danger. But when you break down what they actually are, you start to see something else entirely. Not just power, not just aggression, but intelligence, adaptability, and a deep connection to the ecosystems they shape. So the next time you hear about a grizzly bear in the wild, ask yourself this: are you looking at a threat, or are you looking at one of nature's most perfect survivors? Either way, it's best to respect the distance, because in their world, you are not part of the story. You're just passing through.